Welcome to Your Town, the Arts Are the Answer segment. I'm Paulette Lynch, Executive Director of the Arts Council for Monterey County. And each month what we do is to really bring you the examples that we have, the wonderful, gorgeous, powerful, moving examples that we have in our county of the Arts Are the Answer. Transformational aspects, healing, energizing, inspiring. So many wonderful people are in Monterey County, or they come to Monterey County, and they make our place even better. And we're eager, as the Arts Council, to share that with you every single month. So we're really grateful to Access Monterey Peninsula and all the wonderful people that really help to make this all possible. And we're going to open today. We're going to be talking with different people and different aspects of blooming, of creativity that's blooming, of our hearts opening, of all the different ways that the arts are the answer for having an even more vibrant life and certainly an even more vibrant community. So we're going to start with Open Ground Studios, who it's just a beautiful story that they have of really bringing to life the artistic process and giving space for space and nurturing for artists to grow. So Denise Sanders, let me start with you, since you are the founder of Open Ground Studios. Can you tell us just a little tiny bit about what is Open Ground Studios, and then why the name? What does that name mean for you?
Thank you, Paulette, for having us on the show. Open Ground Studios, the name was actually a challenge to create because we wanted to have a website that would be the name, and it's hard to find that originality. But when we were processing through what we're a community art studio. We're open to creative adults and adults returning to their creativity, as well as professional artists. And and we have a printmaking studio, which is my history and my background. And so as we were putting words together and trying to figure out, we figured the word open should be in it because that's the groundwork. Oh, groundwork, that would be great. It's a ground. It's an open space for us to be together. And ground is also the name of a etching medium for etching copper. It's called a ground, where you put the ground on a plate and that protects the plate so that you can then draw through it and the image is revealed through the ground. So it made sense.
That was perfect. So I also see that you think of the Open Ground Studios as an oasis. So that's also part of, in our whole world, there's some areas that are kind of troubling or something. There's not quite there what we need, but you're actually providing that nurturing space. Yeah. That's what I think of what you're seeding the ground in some way.
Yeah.
So can you describe to how you got started with that? Yeah. What made you really think about why that was needed here and when you started?
I felt it. Yeah. I felt the need. I moved here 15 years ago, and I started working with Arts Habitat right away, which was wonderful to get connected with a progressive movement to get art space. And I think I definitely have something in me that says I need to create space. That's part of who I am. And I also need to create community. And I think the need to create community was because I needed it to start with. And teaching through MPC, a handful of my adult students really wanted to, they were bringing the idea to me, actually. It wasn't the other way around. And so looking forward, 6.5 years ago, I was thinking, if we don't, there really isn't a community space for people to come together and practice and learn together, but connect. And I needed to connect, and I felt, I still do, and Teresa will probably talk about this today too, is that we all do better when we are connected and we are supporting each other. And choosing art as a career or as a lifestyle is not the easiest one. Yeah. And without the support or encouragement from others, it's really easy to lose track and lose the momentum that you feel you need. And for most of us at Open Ground Studios, it is a true need to create and to express ourselves through the arts. And so Open Ground Studios became, because it was a necessity for not just me, but the handful of community members who really came together, and then it became a bigger handful, and then it became just this huge outpouring of love to help build it and to finance it. It was not some business venture that I said I'm going to go out and I'm going to spend $100,000 building this thing for this empire. It was from the ground up. situation. And I think that's part of why we've been successful in the last 5 years. We're about to celebrate our 5th anniversary. And it's because there's been a really huge, lots of seeds of love. And it's been a labor of love.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the labor later.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So, and Teressa, how did you get involved in this whole operation?
Yeah, it's a good question. So in 2014, my husband and I moved from Spaghetti Hill, Monterey to the part of Monterey that was closer to Seaside. And at that point, our new apartment, I didn't have the access to the studio space that I had before. So actually one day I was working in Big Sur, and I was some girlfriends there wanted to come back into town and eat at La Tortuga.
Yes.
And at the time, I had unbeknownst to me, that across the street after we were leaving, I was looking for a place, and it was evening, it was around 6 o'clock, and I looked across the street and I saw Open Ground Studios, and I'm like, wow, that's super cool. So I actually said to my friends, I'm not ditching you, but I need to run across the street. I need to write information down. I had a BlackBerry at the time. I had like a really, and because this was 2014. And anyway, I ran across the street. And then shortly after that, I remember going in and meeting Denise and introducing myself. And that was the beginning. I just talked to her about my situation and what I can afford. And so it's been a real godsend in so many ways, because the arts really connect people and communities on a very beneficial and positive way, unlike other dramas in life that happen. So I think going to Open Ground Studio has been an eye-opener for me, because I used to make my work in a very reclusatory, cloistered situation. So Open Ground Studio was my first experience of doing it really in the open, in the nude, so to speak. Even though you're with other people. I meant I mean that metaphorically speaking, not literally. Yeah. That you're really opening yourself up to other artists going, wow, what are you doing? So it's more metaphorical the way I meant that. Yeah. But anyway, that's my experience with it. And
so it sounds to me like, I know a lot of visual artists are really doing a lot of work on their own by themselves for a good long time, hours and hours at a time, days and days at a stretch. Really, maybe they'll work on something for a year with most of that time by themselves. Right. But what you've created really at Open Ground Studios is a way for people to do their work. They're each working on their own projects. I know you do some things collectively, which I'd like to talk about as well, because that's pretty exciting as well. But it sounds like to me that each of you and all the other members, I'm sure, just get so much out of those sparks that happen just as you're working, and like you're saying, well, what are you working on? I mean, that's just a beautiful space that you've created and that you are nurturing all the time. So I know, you alluded to work just a minute ago, and but it's a special kind of work, and it's also a lot of emotional work, I would guess, on your part, because here you have all these different people. How many people, like, if we're trying to picture, I can picture the space because I've been there, and it's so awesome. But generally speaking, how many people are actually working at a time?
Working at one time,
when it's not
there might be anywhere from 3 to 7 people.
So there's elbow room. Tons, it's not like everybody is scrunched in there when they're actually working and whatnot. So Teressa, getting back to you, what do you find? How has being part of Open Ground also connected you to more people who are going to be helpful for you in some sort of way?
Well, I just really honor Denise in the Open Ground Studio, because that's the point, is that before I was recluse with my artwork, and just her having this great vision and actualizing it and materializing it has been a great gift to the community and to me. So it's helped me with making my art and marketing it. And when you're an artist, you have to stay relevant. So it's helped me. In order to stay relevant, you have to have a place to make your work. It's kind of like a doctor has his office. Denise in OGS has made it possible for artists to have their sacred space, their office, or whatever they want to call it. So it's helped me in that way. It's also helped me open up my heart to accept all sorts of different lives and artists' work and engage. It's helped me to be more engaging.
Wow.
Open Ground Studio is a really great place to not shut down, not that that's what you're doing, but also engage with the larger community in the arts, and it's because of OGS. So,
actually, I have a story that includes her, and this is kind of dovetailing on this. There was a day recently where I didn't really have time to go into work, but I just had to be there for like a half an hour. I'm just going to do this for half an hour, and I'd been working. I'd done some printing the day before, which was really different for me. The work was totally new, and I wasn't sure about it. And so I came in, and in the span of 45 minutes total, part was in the morning and part was in the late afternoon, Teressa was there. She was definitely involved in her thing, and I didn't interrupt her. I just, we always greet each other, and then I walked by. And then another artist, Renata, was there, and she was working on a painting, and Paul was there. This is one of the beauties of it, is we get a chance to, say hello. It's like a workplace. When you go into a workplace, you're seen and you're witnessed. And in the span of 45 minutes during that day, I communicated with 5 people. I showed my pieces from the day before. I got really interesting feedback, which made me feel confident that I was actually heading in the right direction, which I hadn't felt before. At the same time, little tidbits of stories from these 2 women that were there infiltrated me and made me pivot my thinking about my own work in such a short period of time. Like, wow, I didn't see it that way. And then I went back over to, and then later that afternoon I went back over. Teressa was still hard at work. 6 hours later, she was still in there, and she had a different energy than she usually does, and I could tell there was some pain happening. And I went up and I just said, how is it going? And she opened up and shared some of the struggle that she was having, and it was pretty devastating conversation.
Wow.
And I, imbued my 2 cents of wisdom or whatever it was and encouragement for her. And then Renata, who was also still there, later came by and talked to Teressa. And, it was like this global shift for all 5 people who were in the studio that day of their feelings of value. We were all valued by being there together, and we supported each other in really simple, not out of, not like we're rock stars or, rocket scientists. We just say what we feel, and because it's been an environment that is very based in nurturing, that everybody there gets that. And, Teressa came back the next week, and it was like, that was so helpful.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to say is that I didn't answer fully is the benefits have been, like, I have a show in Oakland.
Oh, there we go. That's what I'm trying to say.
So, and Paul, there's other artists that have shows this year, and it's really, I can only speak for myself. It's because of having that back to Open Ground Studio. That's the source of, to me, that's the source of making it, or and however you want to define that. Getting a show maybe, or maybe your blog as an artist. If with Open Ground Studio, there's it actually supports and propels you to places that you're trying to get to that you couldn't have otherwise. That's how I interpret.
So it's a real, just being in that community, but also having that space.
Yeah.
Even the casual conversations that might come up. It's all
catalyst. Existential conversations sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
But because of that space, like the show in Oakland will be in May, but I was telling Denise on the way here, it's holistic for me. One isn't without the other. The show and Open Ground Studio, it's all related, I think. That's me.
Wow, that is exquisite. So what's next for Open Ground Studios? What do you have coming up, like let's say in the next few months, that people can just come in and take a little sneak peek? So many people, I think, they come to a point in their lives and they really wish they were daring enough, or that they had an opportunity or something, and then they might shrink back and say, oh well, too bad for me. But I feel like part of my job really is to help everyone see, no, come back out, out. There is so much opportunity here. And so you're offering space for people who are serious about their work. What else is next for Open Ground Studios in terms of what people can see, maybe get that spark, whether they stay there or become a member, or they do something else, but how can we connect? Just stop on by?
Well, we have shifted our whole model this year, so we're in a whole new phase. So we're not doing as many classes and workshops as we have, but we still have entree to anyone who wants to, like you say, like maybe dive in or maybe not. So we've actually, our private lessons have increased like 100% since we changed our model.
Private, is that?
Private lessons with any one of our artists that are working. And we work with teens up to, you know, whoever.
Wonderful.
And we do have ongoing classes. On Monday night there's creativity, drawing and painting with Paul Richmond. And we've got the range of people in there is I think there's a 15-year-old girl, 2 15-year-olds or 14-year-olds, and then, you know, like I said, all the way up. And people work on whatever medium they want, and they are encouraged and supported both technically and creatively. I do printmaking mentorship as well, and we have ongoing classes in printmaking and ongoing classes in painting with Chris Lieb, although he's leaving town, so I'm looking for another painter who'd like to come in and teach some painting. So we're always there for people to come forth, and what's been really neat is having people, like in the last few months, we've had a number of people buy gift certificates for their spouses who really have who've been craving, like, I really wish I could paint, or I really wish I could. And the spouse goes and says, there you go, go do it. And we have that. We're open to that. We're also we're going to have a show actually May 11th with the Emerging Artists of Monterey, Emerging Artists Alliance of Monterey County. So there's, I think, about 19 emerging artists will be showing in our space, and it's a collaboration with them. I've offered to help them develop their, they want to create a regular critique session like every month, and they're going to be doing that at CSUMB, I believe. And with this show, I said, you know, we've got this artist collective here at Open Ground Studios that there's a lot of veteran artists and professionals and whatever. We'd be happy to guide you through your process of learning how to do critiques and learning how to kind of come together in an organized sort of way. So I think I'm going to facilitate the first critique in the way I do it, and you know, we would love to continue like building our artist collective, whether you work under the umbrella of Open Ground Studios or whether you're connected to us through teaching or through showing or through creative and critical dialogue. That's kind of the passion and pathway that we're doing, because I really do believe what Teressa was saying is that we're all connected in Monterey, and if we connect greater, we are all going to do better. And I think Open Ground has created a big enough following and energy that we can hopefully be somewhat of a catalyst towards, you know, doing better for everyone.
Well, we are going to leave it there, so I don't know how to. But thank you so much for coming. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for your amazing leadership with this whole process. And we know that it's just exploding in impact and just creativity for everyone. So thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.